Hello, my amazing friends. What a wonderful day to be alive. And this video is going to be very challenging for me because for someone who used to be a good girl most of her life, those issues, and for someone who was always trying to please people and try to be comfortable for everyone. I was always afraid to speak up my mind, but now I feel like it's time. It's time, and there's nothing really to be scared of. The truth cannot be scary. So today's topic for me is religion and the reasons why I no longer consider myself a religious person, and the reason why I even started my spiritual journey, my spiritual seeking journey. And it all started in my childhood. My mom's side of the family is Christian, my dad is Muslim, and growing up, just to begin with, I had conflicting views on religion because there was always a debate whose religion is more right, whose religion is better, and whose religion was closer to God. For me, that was confusing because I thought that God is one, and the God was one for everyone. It was just different ways of connecting with God, I guess. But hearing that from adults was very, very conflicting. So it kind of started feeling like maybe neither are true. Maybe neither have anything to do with whoever created our universe. But those conclusions, of course, I didn't make when I was a kid. Of course not. It was later when I was a young adult and I was able to actually analyze and process my childhood. And there was a lot of things that I needed to debunk to understand what was going on. And when I became a young adult, I started working, and of course I started talking to more people. My circle expanded, and I started talking to people who didn't share either of my family's religious views. And I happened to work with one guy who used to study religion in college. And before he even finished his college, he dropped out and he became an atheist. So for me, that was another crack in the foundation because I thought, how is it possible that someone who was studying religion to become a priest in the future realized something, learned so much to actually see beyond that and to understand that this is all lie. So that was his words. That's what he told me. He realized that it was all a lie and maybe there's no God. I don't believe that. I do believe in the Creator. I do believe that we are all the creations of something higher power. And it was just interesting for me how someone who wanted to be a priest before finishing college turned atheist. That created so many questions for me. So many questions that I needed to know because that was something that resonated with me. And I thought, yes, there's something that religions are lying to us about. And that was the first push for me to start seeking the truth. And the truth can be only found by learning and comparing and challenging that knowledge with your own questions. What did I just learn? Is that the truth? And we're all connected to the source. We all are, and all we have to do is just to ask a question, and the answer will always come. So, I guess that's my biggest takeout of the successful spiritual journey. The success in spiritual journey is always asking questions, and you're not asking questions to someone else. You ask that question to yourself because you are directly connected to the source, and if you allow yourself to hear the answer always comes back. So that was crack number 2 in the foundation of my religion journey. Yeah, and then it was just other things that started coming in. When I was a kid also, I would often go to church, and my problem with going to an Orthodox church was the confusion with why God has so many rules. In Orthodox church, you cannot go to the church if your hair is not covered with some sort of scarf or anything. Not a head. For women, it has to be like scarf or scarf. Also, in a hardcore Orthodox churches, you cannot go to church if you're not wearing a skirt. That's how it was back in the day. So my grandma would used to say that if you want to go to church, this is what you have to look. Otherwise, you're not going. And that was the rules that have been forced upon her too. I cannot blame her. Of course, that's not my grandma's fault. But she was very strict about it. And another thing, when I got a little older, when I became a young lady and I got my period, my grandma told me that I cannot go to church if I'm on my period. For me, that was just literally a really strong force of not going to. Because in my mind, I thought, if God created me to be a woman, if God gave me these organs, this reproductive system, female reproductive system, that is designed to go through cycle every month and to bleed every month, if God created me that way, why God doesn't want me in church? That was so first of all, as a woman, I felt very humiliated. I felt very looked down upon. I felt very insecure about that too. Insecure. That statement made me feel like I'm something less than a man, because men can go to church anytime and they don't have to cover their hair. They don't have to wear a skirt. So there's no dress code for them. There's no rules for them, but I have to do it. And on top of everything, I cannot go to church certain time of once a month because I'm a woman. That was a big one. Another one was when you go to an Orthodox church, there's rules like these. I don't know why, but there is a set of rules that you do. You have to like cross yourself certain times, and if you don't do, people look at you like, it's the time, you have to do it. And you don't understand. As a young kid, as a young person, you don't understand any of it. And I truly tried to understand. And then there is a ritual, or it's not a ritual, or just like a habit of giving the respect. People who came to a sermon, then they gather around to kind of go through the altar and go to kiss priest's hand and the cross, the crucifixion cross. Again, why am I kissing some dude's hand? First of all, why am I kissing an object? Second of all, and in hardcore Orthodox churches, they also kiss icons, these pictures of saint people. And from the spiritual point of view, it's true that these paintings carry a lot of positive vibrations, because every single person is coming to that painting picture of the saint, and they put good intentions into it. They basically filling up that object with their energy. And most of the time, people come to church to ask for good health, for good things, and they come to church to pray, which is a very high vibrational thing to do. So when you come closer to these paintings, these pictures, you feel some sort of goodness. You feel it. The energy is coming to you because it was so saturated by so many people who come in every day and pray in those spots. That's why it's the truth that they call them kind of like sources of energy, sources of powerful energies, because so many people gave so much of their energy to these objects or these places. So it is a truth to an extent. But again, why do I need to kiss it? I don't know. I didn't understand that. It was so ridiculous to me. And that was the last time when that was the last time I went to the church. It's when they forced me to confess, which I was a little kid. I didn't know if I did anything wrong. Like, oh, boo-hoo, I said something silly. Like, or oh no, I said one cuss word that I heard boys saying when we were playing tennis. Oh no, you're a sinner. And when the priest came, when I approached the priest and he was like, so what are you confessing? I was like, I don't know, maybe I said a bad word or da da da. And it was so humiliating because I didn't even know what am I confessing. Why I need to do this. Just because I told that to the priest, it doesn't mean that I'm forgiven. In my mind, I was like, I don't even know, why am I doing this, Mom? What's going on? And that was the last time that I willingly went to the church and tried to actually participate and be a part of it. And I realized that it's just not for me, because church represents something that not everyone is included, because if you're not Christian, obviously, right? So there is exclusion, and it just feels wrong to me. And another next chapter of my life, when I moved to the States, and it was right after my aunt passed away from cancer, and I just felt the need. To go and kind of pray for her in the church, because she was very religious. She really believed in everything, and she believed that the church is very important. And I thought that was my connection. I felt the need to do that. And when I went into the temple, it was very interesting that I immediately felt like people staring at me. And it was just a regular Sunday sermon. It was nothing special, no like special invitations or anything. I don't know. I walked in the temple and immediately people started looking at me. I was like, okay, well, I just walked in. That's normal. That, they just look who came in. Maybe they're waiting, expecting for their friends or family coming in. But 15 minutes into a sermon, people just started turning around and whispering to each other, looking at me. And I felt like they basically were talking about, who is this person? Why is she here? And you're an outsider here. So again, the sense of, I don't know, exclusion, it's very much there. And I didn't understand, because I just came to pray. I just came to talk to God. And I was very unwelcomed there. People were questioning, what are you doing here, because you don't belong in this church. Again, I'm not trying to be negative to any of those people. That's the institution that works that way. I get it. But for myself, I decided that I do not want to be a part of that, because for me, God is one. And I don't even like calling it God, because it's so overused that people feel certain type of way towards that word. I believe in the Creator, and for the Creator, we're all one. There's no division into Muslims or Christians or Jews. There's no such a thing. We're all humans. We're all spiritual beings, and I do believe that every person has the right to go through their own experience. So if you, someone who's watching this right now, and you feel very conflicted yourself, and you feel like I am saying some nonsense, and everything that I'm saying does not resonate with you, that's okay. That's your experience. It means that if you're a religious person, and if you feel the need to follow the religion. This is your experience right now. That means that this is something that your soul decided to learn, and this is your lesson for this life. There's nothing wrong with it. All I'm saying is that if you feel resistance, dig deeper, dive deeper into that. Seek why you have the resistance. Maybe you are in the part of your life, or in the stage of development that you are trying to get to know a little bit more, that the system's telling you. Maybe you are ready for the awakening, and you just need you need to challenge yourself a little bit. Basically, that's what I did. And it was a little uneasy at first, and then talking to my parents, it was very uneasy, because now I still celebrate like Christmas and Easter, because these are the cultural traditions that my family used to do, and it reminds me of the childhood, and most importantly, it reminds me of my grandma. Yeah, and I miss her so much. But anyway, these are just things that I do as a cultural thing, but not a religious thing. On Easter, I do everything that American culture does. I don't go to church on Easter. I don't. But I do all the other things, like egg hunt and stuff like that, for kids to have fun, and I do not pressure my children. I didn't baptize them, which I was so happy that my husband was on the same page with all this. I told him, why don't they decide when they grow up? Why don't they decide what they want to be? And it's not like we're not talking about God, and we're not sensitive towards the Creator, It's not that. It's just that I explain to my children that there's something bigger than a human being, but at the same time, I'm telling them what I know now, that God is in every single living being. So the way you treat others, that's how you treat yourself, because everything is one. And so that's the truth that I want to teach my children, and not just go and learn some silly rules at the church that you would not understand the meaning of, and that those things won't give you anything in your life, that will not help you. But knowing that you can always rely on yourself and rely on the guidance from the Creator, I think that's the most important thing for children to know. But that's just me. Okay, next thing that I wanted to kind of bring up about religion is, and that one of the biggest reasons why I no longer want to be a part of any of that, is the amount of people who were executed. And if you Google it, you can't even find the exact number of people who were killed in order to be baptized or fallen into the religion. There's no answer. All Google says is thousands of people. But what is thousands? Is it a 5,000 people, or is it 500,000 people that were killed in order to convert them into certain religion? How many? And God, if you know the Bible, in the Bible it says 10 rules that the Creator gave us. Don't kill. One of the first ones, probably. Don't kill. And what do? We kill people if they don't agree with our religious views. Is that what God designed it for us? No. That's a man's ego. And again, it's just certain things that people accept it as it is, and I decided not to. Also, the really, really crazy and very controversial for me information that I've learned is that the religion as a Christianity as a religion was established 200 years after Jesus Christ was crucified. How funny is that? So Jesus was not Christian, but now he's a literally idolized leader of the Christianity. But he was not Christian, and he did not dictate the rules that Christian church has. I don't know, how did that happen? Oops, right? And the Jesus Christ kept repeating over and over and over again, do not worship anything or anyone. Do not create yourself an idol. And what did we do? Exactly that. So technically, the religion started as a sin. We created ourselves an idol to worship him, saying that he's the God. While it was misinterpreted. That Jesus never called himself a God. He was saying that you are all God. The base of every existence, the base of every life form on planet Earth is the Creator. And from that goes the separation into God discovering itself, learning about itself, and being self-conscious. And through self-consciousness, learning, evolving, creating diversity of life forms because it's beautiful. Because why not? There is no reason for life but life itself. There's no meaning to life but to live it and enjoy it, and making sure that this world is expanding into something even more beautiful. But as a human beings, of course, there is a experience of living in a low vibrations, and I do believe that it's all part of it. Living in low vibrations and discovering what it feels like. And I don't necessarily like it, because who wants to say like, oh yeah, I like all the mess that's going on in the world? No. But again, it has to be acceptance. We have to accept that every human being has the right to live through their own experience. And that's basically why people accusing religious statements like come to God and God will always answer. But the God has the law, the universe has the law of the sacred uninvolvement. I think that's the right I think that's it. I think I can state it as that. The sacred uninvolvement, basically letting someone to learn the lesson, letting someone to go through their experience in order to learn, in order to better, in order to go through something that they are chose to go through. And it's a hard one to understand, but the more I learn about spirituality, the more spiritual I'm becoming. It's all makes more sense to me, because when the first time I heard it from my spiritual teacher, I was like, okay, these people are cuckoo. But then it triggered me, and from the years of trying to debunk my childhood issues and stuff like that, I was working with therapists, and that kind of taught me how to accept the challenge and dive into the triggering issue. If something triggers you, you have to look within, because you responded to it. You resonated with it, even if it's in a negative way, but you resonated with that. It tickled something inside of you that you could not keep your you couldn't keep your peace. So that if you have an emotional response to something, that means that something needs to be looked at and maybe worked through. So that was for me, and that's why I was like, you know what, I'm gonna listen to these people, because it sounds crazy. It sounds crazy. How can you be okay with everything that's bad that's going on in the world? But now I realize that it's not being okay. There is a compassion. There is the wish for the people to get better, to learn, and to be happy. There is the intention for the world to be a better place. But again, there is this thing that Creator has set as a rule: the complete freedom for every person, every living being, to learn their own experience, to have their own experience, to learn their own lesson. And we as a human beings have to accept that. And for myself, I have a rule: if nobody is asking for my help, I do not help. Because maybe that's their experience. And a lot of times when I would get involved and help, that would slap me in the face back, because people would literally say, like, I didn't ask for your help. And that's like, again, that person wanted to learn how to handle this on their own, and I jumped in because I'm a good guy, because I need a pat on the shoulder for myself, because I wanted to be, to pet my ego and say that, oh, I helped them. And that did never, even I never said that to anyone, but just in general, from the way the energies work, that's how it works. If you get involved and people didn't ask for that involvement, you're gonna get hurt, because you basically maybe prevented them from learning something. That's how it is. And I'm still a little in conflict with this, and I'm still not accepting, but I'm trying to understand how it is. That's why a lot of time people will say that God doesn't answer my prayers. Like, if you have something really terrible going on and you really pray for something, for that something to go away, does that mean that it will go away? Maybe will, maybe not. Nobody knows. Nobody knows, because God wants us to learn how to handle things on our own. A lot of times it's just the response of the vibration that we have. But what we all need to know is that we are gods. We are God. Everything is God, and we are God. So we have the infinite power to change everything in our life. And there's literally countless amounts of cases where people were curing themselves from things like cancer, and cancer was disappearing into thin air with no trace, because of, I don't know what that is. There's no secret formula to it, but just it's acceptance, and it's a positive thinking, and it's a know how to work with your own vibrations, and not wasting your energy, preserving your energy, and the intention. If you want to be healthy, basically you will be healthy, and you will do anything for that. And there is a psychological things that you can literally go to a therapist and work through that trauma, and something will literally disappear. It's so complex, and we are human beings. We're so complex being that there's no formula. That's why sometimes it's so difficult to navigate. There's no magic pill. Religion will not save you. Therapist will not save you alone. And the pill will not save you alone. It's a complex thing. And the best way to help yourself, you need to sit down and meditate and get to the bottom of everything. Get to the bottom of the whole creation, and know the laws of the universe. And this is my thing that I'm doing for myself. I want to know the truth. And that's why there has to be something that has to be left behind, like religion, for me. Because at that point of my life, religion was something that was stopping me from growing and evolving. If the religion at this moment, something that you need, do it because you need it. This is your lesson. This is your experience. You need to go through it. And maybe once you accept it fully, and there will be you will be enough of it, and there will be nothing left there, and you will move on to something else. There's no right or wrong. There's no good or ill in these matters, and you always have to listen to yourself first, and not to someone else, because you know all the answers. You know yourself better than anyone. And when you do that, magic starts happening. And from my experience, I became so confident. I became so at ease with myself once I accepted those things. And I thought to myself, wow, this is literally something that I was working on for years, and it was so easy to achieve. And it was really bizarre too. Like, wow, literally like a switch went off. And now it feels like it's always been like that. Interesting. um, the way I perceive this issue is that I spread the word. I spread the word, and I'm telling people that I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual. That's what I say to people when they ask me. And people are curious most of the time. It's like, what is that? And when I explain, people are really amazed by, like, I haven't even thought of that. So if you needed a push towards self-discovery, here it is. Sit down in the meditation, and the best meditation to do it is to just sit down, silence your mind, meaning even if the thoughts are coming through, you come into your mind, you just let them go, and you just kind of try to listen to the silence and ask only one question. Who am I? Who am I? This is the meditation that will start opening up your consciousness towards letting you into that field of infinite wisdom, and you will receive your answer. Did I receive my answer? Yes, I did. Even though I don't fully understand it with my mind, I feel it in me, and my behavior changed. And even like not that long ago, a couple days ago, even or yesterday or the day before, I had a very interesting interaction with a woman at the gym when I tried to come and work out, and I wanted to drop off my boy at the kids' room, but it was at its full capacity. And immediate response was my regular response. I got irritated. I got annoyed. Basically, I got very, I've purchased the same membership, as anybody whose kids in this room right now. So what's going on? Why is that? And I gave a lot of attitude to that lady, but that was my habitual way of being, like this ego in me, like what about this, blah blah. And I looked at I went to work out, and I looked myself in the mirror like, is this the person you really are? Or that's the old person, sort of like the shell of old beliefs and habits? Because that's not you. That's not who you want to be. And immediately I felt that connection to the source, like, that's what it means to accept, to understand others, to love others, and to be compassionate to others. And when I came back, I apologized. I was like, I owe you an apology for giving you so much attitude, and that was nothing to do with you. It was me, and that was sincere, and that was my realization that that's how I used to always perceive people. I saw that lady as my problem because she didn't let my kid in, and not having this understanding that this is the rules of this gym. That's not her personally, and I attacked her, gave her attitude. She didn't deserve that. She didn't do anything wrong to me. And you know what? When I apologized and explained myself to her, she lightened up. She even smiled, and I was like, that's what it's all about. And immediately I felt happy too, because I came in as this ball of anger for no reason, and literally vomited that on her. And she didn't deserve that. She didn't deserve any of it. And I was like, why am I doing this? Why? That's not how I want to be treated. Because if everything is one, that's literally the attitude I'll get back. It's like, what are you doing, Amalia? What are you doing? And when I saw her smile, I was like, you know what? I'm happy that she smiled. I'm happy that I was able to erase that negativity off of her because I was the cause of that. And if I didn't, I don't know, maybe she would be in a bad mood for the rest of her day. I don't know how sensitive she is. I don't know how closely she takes things to her heart. I don't know. So why would I be the cause of something so negative in person? I want it to be the cause of good in a person. I want to make people smile. I want to make people be happy and feel good about themselves. And you know, if their day were bad, let's make it a little better. That's how I want to operate, and that's what God is all about. That's what the creator is all about, to create this place on earth where we're all happy, but we all have a responsibility on working on ourselves, and first of all to work on our ego, because that's the ego that pushes us towards strange things. And but again, I'm glad I was able to experience that. It was beautiful, and I'm glad that now I know that those are the set of habits or habitual behavior that I have in me, and I catch it when I see it. Now I catch it and I stop myself before I even open my mouth. But again, it's all part of learning, and learning how to be more spiritual. It's For me, it means accepting, loving, caring, and be compassionate, and it has nothing to do with rules. There's no rules in love, there's no rules for God loves equally a little duckling as much as God loves a little baby. For God, there's no difference between a duckling and a baby. It's all life. It's all valuable. It's all meaningful. It's all beautiful, and it's so important. So if we start seeing each other like that, we are unstoppable. And yeah, so I guess that's all I wanted to say. That's all for this video. This is my reasoning for not being religious but being spiritual, and I hope you liked this video. I hope it resonated with you to an extent. If it doesn't, that's okay. Just go watch something else, and maybe it's just not time for you for this video and for this information. That's okay. I wish you well. I wish you to be happy, and do everything you can today to be happy, because happiness creates more happiness, and happy people don't hurt other people. Happy people spread love. So I love you. Have an awesome day, and try to smile today as much as you can.